lot of law firms are using Microsoft Teams for internal communications. Now imagine if you can build an army of AI agents inside Microsoft Teams that you could delegate administrative work to and that could support all of your staff. In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn Microsoft Teams into a central hub where you can build out AI agents and coordinate them to start taking a lot of work off of your plate and off of the plate of your staff as well. If you don't know who I am, my name is Masai and I work directly with small to mid-sized law firms to help build out AI automations and AI solutions just like the one I'm going to show you in this video. So as usual, we'll start out with a demo, and you can see some of the earlier messages here where we have an intake that we can do automatically. We have drafting emails automatically, all the sort of stuff. But we have this app. We set this app up in Microsoft Teams. It gives us this chat that we can see over here on the left-hand side, this legal ops chat. And it's just our agent that can interact with Clio and that can interact with our email inbox. Obviously, we could continue to build on top of this and add more capabilities on top of this. But for the sake of this demo, we'll start with just with Clio and with our Outlook email inbox. Down here on the bottom right, we have this button here for viewing prompts. And this just gives us some of the capabilities that we have already within this agent. So we have this ability to find a matter, summarize a thread, create a new intake, draft a reply, draft a new email, etc., etc. And then we'll start out with something simple. So in Clio, I have a couple of matters for Thor. And I'm just going to tell the agent to find these matters and give me some sort of summary of what's going on in those matters. So we'll go ahead and go into prompts, find matter, find Thor's open matters in Clio, and give me a summary of their current state. Then we'll have it start typing back. Okay, and so it actually found some different matters with Thor in it. So let me try to specify find the matter with Thor Thunder. So let's do find matter. Find the matter with Thor Thunder in it. There we go. And so now we have these matters here from Thor Thunder, right, that are open in Clio, and it can find those matters for us. And the next thing I'm going to show you guys is how to create an intake. So I have this prompt here for creating an intake using the /intake command, and then just giving some information, first name, last name, what the type of, or a little bit of a description of the case, some of the injuries, etc., etc. And then I can send this through, and this should give us back an actual intake that gets created in Clio for us. And here we go. So it gives us back this form here. We can edit the things that are in this form. If we wanted to put an email in here, we can go ahead and do that. If we wanted to add an existing client, we could do that. The descriptions here, it gives us this pretty cool form for us to be able to edit within Microsoft Teams, and then we can approve and create in Clio. And once it's approved, then it will go off and actually create the matter for us in Clio. And it gives us this link here, and I should be able to open this matter now in Clio and see it. We have this John Doe matter, matter description, etc., etc., right? So that is something else you can do in Clio with an agent like this. And then the last thing we're going to do is just draft an email in our inbox. So we're going to go ahead and draft an email in our Outlook inbox as well. So we have this draft new command, /command, which is a command to draft an email, and then a little bit of a description of the email that we want drafted in Outlook. There we go. And so once we have that, it invokes this command. It goes through, drafts the message in Outlook. I can open the message in Outlook, and I can see here this draft has been written, and it's here in my Outlook inbox. So those are a few of the things that you can do with really basic capabilities. We have an Outlook connection, a Clio connection, and we're interacting with everything here in Microsoft Teams. So we can take actions in Clio if we want to. We can take actions in our Outlook if we want to, and we also have the context of information that we can pull from both those sources. Here's a useful diagram for conceptualizing what we're doing. We have at the bottom level of capability and the bottom level of leverage, when you're just getting started with AI, we have our chat AI interfaces. So this is where you go to chatgpt.com. You may ask some questions in ChatGPT. It gives you some responses. You may generate some images and documents there within the actual web app for whatever AI you're using. Then moving forward from there, we have a suite of agentic tools from all of these different AI providers. So all the AI providers offer some form of agentic tool. And the difference with an agentic tool is that it will take actions for you, right? So you can tell Claude Cowork to write an email for you and put it in your drafts, or to move files around, etc., etc. And the same thing is true of Codex, which is from OpenAI. It's an agentic tool as well, and Anti-Gravity, which is from Google. And so this is a step up on the ladder of capability in terms of what you're doing and what you're building with AI. As we have agentic AI is basically the next step upwards. And the third level in terms of capability and in terms of leverage is going to be these operating systems inside of your existing communications channels, right? Because as you build out systems here that are already within the communications channels that you're already using, whether that is Teams, Slack, it could also be Outlook or Gmail, you're sticking with a method of communication that you're already used to, that your team is already used to. So you don't have the same switching cost as having to teach your team to use Claude Cowork or Codex or Anti-Gravity, which is going to be a bit difficult to teach people how to use. And there's even some switching costs with showing them how to use ChatGPT or Claude, right? If they can just talk to an AI agent the same way they would talk to a person and ask it to do certain things within Microsoft Teams and Slack, there's very low switching costs there. Additionally, these two layers below here, Agentic AI and Chat AI, they are going to abstract away some of the capabilities here. So you won't be able to have as much control over exactly how the agent works, over what its capabilities are and aren't. A lot of that stuff is going to be taken care of by the providers, by OpenAI or by Anthropic. They're going to take care of the infrastructure and a lot of the technical side of what goes on in Chat AI interfaces and also in Agentic AI interfaces like Cowork. When we start building our own AI operating systems out of Microsoft Teams, Slack, or whatever email provider you're using, now you have that ability to build your own workflows, build your automations, and give your agents different tools and capabilities, and you can have control over that entire stack. So this is basically the progression in terms of capability and in terms of leverage of the three different types of AI systems of what you would have seen on this channel and what you'll see out in the wild. And then the last thing that I'm going to talk about here before we move into the actual build is proactivity. So that is, imagine a workflow like this where we're getting a daily summary of the things that we need to do, the most important deadlines, the client-facing, revenue-driving activities, etc., etc. Now, this was done with a slash command or with a prompt, but we could easily set this up to run automatically every day at 7 or 8 a.m. And because everything's running in the cloud, we wouldn't have to have Microsoft Teams open, your computer could be off, and these sort of commands could run every single day, right? So you can get reports like this. You could also take it a step further to the point where you actually have actions being taken. So you could have emails being drafted, you could have tasks being marked complete, etc., etc. Or the third option that you could have is suggested tasks can be sent to you in Teams, and you can then approve or decline tasks that way. But you can start to get a lot more proactivity when you're actually building out an AI operating system within Teams, rather than doing things or trying to automate things within Claude Cowork. Because a lot of times within Claude Cowork, if you want something to happen in Cowork, you're going to have to go in, you're going to have to write the prompt and get Cowork to do it for you. You can also schedule tasks, but the problem with scheduled tasks is obviously your computer has to be on basically 24/7 in order to run those scheduled tasks. Whereas when you build your own operating system, you don't have that problem, and you can actually have those scheduled tasks run automatically. You can have your agent be more proactive rather than just reactive to the commands that you're giving it. Really quick, if you are the owner of a small to mid-sized law firm and you guys want help building out AI solutions for your law firm, there's a link you can click on in the description, which will show you how I can help you out with that. So let's get right back into this video. Now we're going to actually get into building this. I'm going to show you guys how to build this step by step. You guys can follow along. Also, in the description, there's going to be a link to this GitHub repository, which has a full setup.md file, which you can just follow step by step to actually get this set up in your own Microsoft Teams account. But if you want to read through that and watch this at the same time, then you can do that. And that way you can just follow along with what I'm doing and get everything set up to actually have this agent working for you in Microsoft Teams. So we have this section 0, which is just general guidelines, the different accounts that you'll need, sort of a high level guidelines of things that you need to follow or be aware of as you're building this out. And then we actually get into starting to actually get this installed, right? So there's a few basic things. If you don't have Homebrew installed, you're going to want to install Homebrew. Git as well. These are just a couple of different tools that you'll need installed on your computer. You can follow these to get them installed. You can also go to Homebrew. You can also install Homebrew here. You can install Git here as well and get those onto your computer. And there's a few other things that you'll install here. Just make sure you have those. So once you've got Homebrew, Git, Node, PNPM, and the Vercel CLI, we're going to move through and actually get this code onto our computer. So the first thing that we want to do here is create a folder on our desktop. I'm just going to call this folder projects. Then once we have that folder set up, we're going to come to the GitHub repository, There's going to be a link to it in the description. You want to go ahead and click this code button, copy the link to the repository. Then what you can do is you can right click on this projects folder that we just created, click new terminal at folder, and then you're just going to type in git clone and then paste the URL. And that's going to get all the code into this folder for us now. So we now have this MS Legal Teams OS opened here. And then what I want to do is I want to open a terminal here, and I want to cd, which means go into, I think it's MS Teams Legal OS. And now you can see that I'm actually inside that folder, which we're going to be working with for the rest of this setup. Okay, so now we've got git clone. Then we want to install the packages and dependencies. So we're going to go ahead and just copy this pnpm install command. We'll paste that. That'll install these. And then once that runs, we're going to create the .env.local. So the local environment file, we're going to create that as well in this folder once these packages are done. So the packages are done now. And I'm just going to run this command here, which is copying the .env.example file to a .env.local file. And I'll show you what that does in a second, but we'll go ahead and run that really quickly. And that's going to create this .env.local file here for us. So what we had before was this file already, which had this .env.example, which gives us all the variables that we're going to need to get everything set up, but they're blank right now. And so what we wanted to do is copy this into a local version of this. And so we can have that on our computer, so we can put real values in here, so we can go through and test everything before we go and actually deploy it on the cloud. So we now have this .env.local file, which is a copy of the .env.example. And this is what we're going to be using throughout the rest of this setup process to actually put the variables into. Now there's a few secrets that we're going to generate here. So a few random secrets. We're going to generate auth secret, encryption key we're going to generate, and then cron secret as well we're going to generate. And all you have to do for these is go through and follow this step by step. Copy this, paste it into your terminal. This will give you a random string. We can go ahead and paste this in auth secret. Make sure we save as we go. Do the same thing for the encryption key. Copy this, paste it, get a random value. Go encryption key, save that, and then for the cron secret, the last one. Here, copy this, and then go cron secret here and save that. And then we have all those filled in. The admin email allow list, that's this section here. You want to include your Outlook email because we're set up now to connect with Outlook. And so your Outlook or your Microsoft email, you want to include that in the allow list because that's going to be the emails that are allowed to actually access the app and be able to use the app that we're going to be building and connecting to now. So I'm going to go and copy my email and put that in here. Okay. And now we're going to the admin email allow list. And then you're just going to paste in your email in here. I believe there's actually quotes, I think. So let's put some quotes here. So put some quotes around it and get your email on here. Obviously, it doesn't have to be .onmicrosoft.com. That's the one I have. But whatever your Outlook email is, you want to put that on there. And then we want to get the Vercel connection set up. So you'll want to go to vercel.com. And you'll just want to create an account here and get set up on Vercel. Make sure you're set up with Vercel. Make sure you've done in the earlier steps this command here to install the Vercel CLI. That way you'll be able to use Vercel commands like link to the project and to log in, etc., etc. So once we have our Vercel CLI set up, we can just come into the terminal. We can run Vercel login. This will open up a tab here. We'll go ahead and allow this, which will authorize us to be logged into our Vercel account. And then close this. So now Vercel is now connected, and then we can link this repository or this folder that's on our computer into Vercel, which is in the cloud. So we're going to run Vercel link. In order to do that, it's going to ask us a series of questions. Found this project. Should I link to this project? Let's do no. And then we'll do my project, link to existing project, no. Name for this project will be YouTube Live MS Teams. Which directory? We can keep it here /. Customize settings, we'll go no. Additional project settings, no. Detected a repository connected to the project. Yes, if you would like to connect it, you don't have to connect it. If you do have it connected, it's going to update automatically any changes that are made to the repository. You may want that, you may not want that. I'm going to go ahead and say yes for the sake of this demo, but you may want to say no if you don't want sort of these automatic updates coming into your Vercel project. Now we have our local repository connected to Vercel. So if I come into my Vercel account, we can see this project was just created here. This YouTube Live MS Teams project was just created and it's live on Vercel. And so moving forward, we're going to go ahead and deploy here to get our domain set up. So we'll go Vercel to deploy this. And then once this is done, we'll run Vercel prod to get it to production. Now we can see that this has been deployed. We have the URL here and we just want to get this set to production. So we'll go Vercel -- prod and then get this set to production. And this will give us a URL, and we'll be using this URL later for a lot of other things. Okay, cool. So we can see this is ready here. Now the next thing we have to do is get our database set up. So we'll go to Vercel, we'll click on our project, we'll click storage here on the left-hand side, we'll go create database, we'll click neon, continue, go down to the bottom, click continue, and we'll go create, and then continue. And then we'll go ahead and set this to the development environment as well. And we'll go ahead and connect this. And then there we go. That probably took 30 seconds and that's our database setup. Then we need to get those database variables into our project. So in order to do that, we're going to create another file called .env.vercel, which is going to get all of our database file environment variables. So we're going to copy this. I'll come back into my terminal. I'll run this. Vercel env pull.env.vercel. That's going to create inside of my Teams folder this .env.vercel file, which is going to have my database URL in it. And so what I'll need to do is grab this entire database URL, copy it, and then paste it into my .env.local file. So that's now in there. I can save that, and then we can move on from here. If you want to delete this file now, this .env.vercel, you can. I'll delete it so it's not confusing. You can also leave it, it's up to you. But you can delete that if you want to. Then we'll continue on here. We need an AI gateway key, and we need to get that in our .env.local file. So in order to do that, we'll come back to Vercel. I'll click this back arrow. I'll go down to AI gateway here on Vercel. I'll have to make sure that I have some credits in here. So I'll come down to API keys. Let's see. There we go. So I have to make sure I have credits in here. You may want to put $20, $30 of credits in here, or $10, or however much credit you want to put on here. Then we'll come down to API keys. We'll create an API key, and then I'll call this YouTube test demo key. Create the API key, copy it, and then I'm going to save it into .env.local under Vercel AI Gateway, this AI Gateway API key. So go ahead and paste that, save that, and then we'll keep on moving from there. There is a test script that we can use to make sure everything's working well. It's going to be here in section 4.4. We can copy this test script, paste that into the terminal, and then this will just test to make sure that we can actually connect and have our AI models connected into our app. And so this went through and tested all the AI models, and that's how we know that everything's running okay and the gateway is connected well. Now from here, we're going to apply some migrations to our database. So all you do is just copy these commands, these two commands, and run them in the terminal. Go ahead and paste that command, apply those migrations, and then once that's done, we'll run the second command, which is just going to verify the migration for us. And this tells us that all the migrations completed successfully, so we can keep on going. Now what we need to do is get set up with Azure. So what we'll do here is we'll go to portal.azure.com. We'll sign in with our whatever Microsoft account you're using. We'll go to app registrations. We will create a new registration. I'll call this YouTube MS Teams demo. You can leave this as single tenant only, and then you can go ahead and register this. Then once you have this, you want to copy the client ID and the tenant ID. So let's grab the client ID first. We'll come back to .env.local and we'll paste that in intra client ID, save that, and then we'll do the same thing for the tenant ID. So copy that and then paste it into the tenant ID section here. Then we're going to come into manage. We're going to come into certificates and secrets. We're going to create a new client secret. If you plan to use this for as like your main agent for your law firm, I would set this out for 730 days for 2 years, and then just set a reminder in 2 years from now to come in and set another secret. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to do 180 days, but normally you want to set this out as far in the future as you can, which is 2 years in the future. So I'm going to call this demo key. Go ahead and add this, and then you want to make sure that you copy the value here, not the secret ID, but the value. So go ahead and grab the value, and we'll paste that into intra client secret and save this. Now we need to add a few redirect URIs. We need to add 4 redirect URIs. All of them, again, are in this setup document for us. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to authentication. We're going to go to add redirect URI. We're going to select web. And then the first one we're going to pop in here is going to be this callback URL. So I'll go ahead and paste this here. And then this is really important here, right? We need to make sure that we replace this section where it says your domain, replace it with your actual domain. And you're going to get that from Vercel. So when you go back to Vercel, when you come back to your projects, when you click into your project, this domain here is the domain that you want to be replacing anywhere you see that big text that says your domain, right? Because this is your actual domain. So I'll just copy this, and then I'll replace this entire thing, your domain.vercel.app. I'll replace it with what I just copied, and I'll go ahead and configure this. And then from here, I'll go ahead and do another one, or the next 3 of them I'll do. So we have these 3 here. We'll just copy these one at a time. So we'll copy localhost for any local testing. Then we have another your domain URL, which we're going to paste in here. And then again, I'm going to just grab my domain from Vercel, and I'm going to paste it in the your domain.vercel.app. And then we have one more localhost, which I'm going to copy as well. I'm going to put that in here as well. So go ahead and configure this. And then we have all these redirect URIs set up here, and we can keep moving forward now. So then the last thing we have to do here is set this graph redirect URI, which is going to be in our .env.local. So I'll come over here, and I can see here this graph redirect URI. It's pretty much set up already. We just have to replace this section here, your domain.vercel.app, with our actual domain. Now, once we've done all of that, we need to add a few permissions here to our application. So we're going to go and we're going to add a couple of these permissions. Come to the app, click on API permissions on the left-hand side here, and then go ahead and add a permission, and just go through and follow along and add all these permissions. So I'll go do that quickly, and then I'll be right back. So actually, let's go through walking through adding all these credentials together. So we'll go ahead and add a permission here, go to Microsoft Graph, go to delegated permissions, and then we're just going to go ahead and just copy these one at a time and add them in. So user.read should already be in here. We already have user.read there. We're going to go mail.read as the first one. Paste that. Open up mail. Select mail.read. And we're probably going to want mail.readWrite as well. Then we want to add mail.send. If you want your bot to be able to send emails, we're going to add this capability here, which is mail.send. Then we're going to go files.readWrite. Paste this in here. Select that. And then notice we're not going to click the add permissions button until we've selected all the permissions that we want. So offline access is going to be here. We want to open that. And then open ID, profile, and email. So we're going to go open ID. We're going to go profile. And then we're going to go email. And that should be all of the ones that we need. Now we can add permissions here. And note, you're going to have to be the administrator on your Teams account or on your Microsoft account in order to be able to grant this administrative consent. And so once we have all these permissions in here, we can go ahead and click this check button to grant admin consent. Go ahead and click yes. And then now we've granted consent for all these permissions for our application. Now we want to go ahead and register this bot. So again, we have the URL here for you in that setup guide. We can go ahead and paste that. We want to go ahead and sign in again with whatever account you're using. Then here, we want to go into tools, and then we want to go into bot management, and then we want to click new bot. And then we'll give it a name here. I'll call it YouTube Legal Ops. Let's call it YouTube Legal Ops Terminator. Let's call it that. There we go. All right, cool. So we're giving it a name. Once it's created, we're going to do a few things. First thing we're going to do is come into client secrets. We're going to create a client secret for the bot. And we're going to copy this back into our .env.local file. And we're pasting it into the bot app password. Then we need the ID for this bot as well, which we're going to grab here from the URL. So you'll come to the URL, and then you'll see bots / and then this unique ID here. And you want to go ahead and copy the ID, which is between the slash after bots and before secrets. You want to copy that. Then you want to paste that in bot app ID, save that. And then the tenant ID for the bot is going to be the same tenant ID that we got earlier for the intra tenant ID. So we can go ahead and copy this, and we can put this in bot app tenant ID as well. And the last thing we need to do is set the endpoint address here. So we want to copy this value. Obviously notice here that it says your domain, which means we need to switch out our domain. We'll come into the configure section, we'll paste the endpoint address here, and then we'll come back to Vercel, get our domain, copy it, and then put our domain in here in this app section. Then go ahead and save this. Should be saved now. You can refresh the page just to make sure that it's actually saved, because if it's saved, it'll still be here when you refresh. And now from here, there's a smoke test that you can run, which is in the setup document. And you can just go ahead and copy this smoke test. You can run it in your terminal. And then this will let you know that everything is working and is live. And this is where you may want VS Code to be able to do this. You're probably going to want VS Code to be able to do this. So just go ahead and go to search for VS Code or any other code editor. If you guys are familiar with code editors and you have one that you use like Windsurf or Cursor or anything like that, feel free to use that. If you're not familiar with code editors, go ahead and search for VS Code. It's a free code editor built by Microsoft. You can go ahead and just open this up, download it onto your computer, and you'll want to use this to be able to open these files and work with the files that we're going to be working with. Now, what we'll do here is I'll just search for VS Code. I'll open it up. I'm going to go ahead and open a file here, and I'm going to look for the file that I have this projects file. So it should be here, projects, the team's legal OS, and then I'm just going to open this inside of VS Code. Then from here, we want to open up this Teams app folder here. So open up Teams app, and then open up manifest.json. Now there's a few values that we're going to have to replace in this file. Don't worry if it looks a little bit intimidating. We're going to walk through everything together. What you're going to do is you're going to press the control button, and then you're going to press the that squiggly line button that's under the escape button to the left of the one. You're going to hold down control, press that squiggly line button, and that's going to open up the terminal here. Then in this terminal, you just want to type in UUIDGEN to give you a unique identifier. You want to copy that, and then you want to paste it in this ID section here. Go ahead and find ID and go ahead and paste this. And then the bot ID is going to be the bot ID that we copied earlier. So again, hopefully your .env.local file is still open. And then we can just copy the bot app ID. So go ahead and grab this, copy it, paste it over to bot ID, and then go ahead and save that as well. And then we have a placeholder in here. So we have your domain.vercel.app. We want to, again, just copy our actual domain from Vercel. And then we should be able to just Command F, I believe it is here, and then look for your domain.vercel.app. And then if you open up this arrow here, it'll allow you to find and replace. So then paste your actual app ID, and then just start hitting enter. Enter, enter, enter. There we go. And now you've replaced all of those values with your actual app value or your actual app domain. And you want to just Command S to save that. And then from here, you can also, if you want to, the name of the developer you can change as well. So instead of saying you're a company, you can say, Masai Super Law Firm, something like that. And just make sure you're using Command S or Control S if you're on Windows to save this as you're going. And then we need to bundle this into a zip file. So what we'll do here is we'll just type in CD Teams app to get inside of this Teams app. And then we can just copy this zipping command here. And then we have now another zipped file here, which we have zipped into this legal ops OS or legal ops.zip. So this legal ops.zip is zipping up the manifest and all those a couple other files here for the color and the outline. And then we're going to walk through actually uploading this to Teams and getting ready to use it. Once we have created that zip file, we're going to come into Microsoft Teams, and I'm going to show you how to upload that now. So we're in Microsoft Teams, which if you use Teams, obviously you'll be familiar with this page. You come to this plus button over on the bottom left, click plus. Then you'll come down to Manage Your Apps at the bottom. Once we're in the Manage Your App section, you'll click Upload an App. Then we'll choose this top one, Upload an App to your org's app catalog. And then from here, we'll come into Desktop, Projects, our Legal Teams OS. We'll come down to Teams App, and we'll grab this legalops.zip file that we just created, and we'll upload that. Now, I could have probably done a better job with the name of the app because it's the same name as the other ones, but we can see that this is the one that I just created, right? Because we see here, Masai Super Law Firm is different from the other ones that I used. These ones are already open. This one I can just add. I'll click add. I'll have this add button. If it doesn't show up right away, you probably have to X out of it, add, and then add this into a chat. And once we've added it, I should be able to just go ahead and open this, click open, and this will open up a new chat with my legal ops team agent. Now we have a couple more things to do to set this up before it's fully operational. I actually recommend skipping to step 11 here first and getting the Clio environment variables into your .env.local before moving forward to finish this connection and get everything live. So what you can do here is just go to developers.clio.com, and obviously you can follow this step 11 here. We'll go ahead and create a new app, and then this would be the YouTube demo MS Teams. The website URL is going to be our URL from Vercel. We're just going to go ahead and copy that entire thing, paste it in here. And then for our redirect URI, we want to go ahead and copy this here, paste it in here, and then we want to swap out this placeholder for our actual domain. We'll go ahead and accept the terms of service here, and then we'll go ahead and check all these boxes. So I'll check these and I'll be right back. And once you've checked all the boxes on Clio, you'll go ahead and click the save button, and then this screen is going to pop up. And you want to go ahead and copy the client ID here, come back to our .env.local, come into the Clio section, paste the Clio client ID here, grab the secret from Clio, and then paste the Clio secret as well. Make sure that we get rid of any leading spaces here and that we save as we go. And then we want to replace your domain.vercel.app with your actual domain here, which luckily I have here right above. I can copy this, replace this. That's my actual Vercel app. And then the Clio webhook secret is just a random value that you can generate. So if you want to just bang on your keyboard and put it in that way, you can do that. If you want to, you can use one of these random generator commands in the terminal, and that will give you a value. Whatever you want in here, it can be any random value. Now, once we have all these variables here in our .env.local, we're gonna just select them all. So Command A and then Command C, select them all. We'll go over to Vercel. We'll come into our environment variables, and then we'll add an environment variable here in Vercel, paste everything in here. The one thing that we can delete is the database URL because that will already be in here. And then we can go ahead and save this and then redeploy. And then we can just keep an eye on this deployment to make sure that everything builds successfully. And once that's up, we can start testing our bot. Okay, so now this is live. Two things we'll have to do. One, we'll open up our domain. We're gonna put /admin at this domain to open the admin panel. We'll continue with Microsoft here. We'll log in with the Microsoft account that we have connected. And then we're gonna connect Clio. Give permissions here. And then we're gonna connect Outlook as well. And then give permissions here for Outlook. So now we have Clio connected and our Outlook connected. Okay, so get Clio connected. Now we want to just port our data over from Clio using a couple tests, using a couple scripts. So we'll run this script, and I'll copy the next script as well. There is the first Clio sync, and then here's the second one that we're going to run. All right, perfect. So we've run both of these syncs from Clio into our database, and then lastly, we'll go ahead and test this in Teams now. I'll go find matter, and then we'll go John Doe. And then we have this connection here, right? So then there's a bunch of prompts over here that you can test out. Finding matters, drafting emails, all the stuff that we covered earlier on in the video. But that is basically the setup process. And if you want to, I would encourage you guys to copy this repository, fork it, make your own changes to it, add more capabilities to it, take capabilities away, add more tools to it, try giving it the ability to display visual data, take more complex actions for you, run things on a sequence, all these sort of things you can add on top of what already exists here. And then I just want to take a really quick look at what this can mean for a law firm going forward. Essentially what it means is every employee will become somewhat of a manager, right? Where everybody has agents beneath them that are trained on how to do specific tasks, and people's role becomes more about overseeing those agents and verifying their outputs and organizing and orchestrating the work that those agents do, rather than manually doing the work themselves. So that's how you can turn Microsoft Teams into a command center for building and managing AI agents in a law firm or in your small business. Obviously, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, comment down below if you guys have any issues or need help with troubleshooting, and also let me know the different types of videos you want to see in the future. If you like this more technical content, let me know. And then also subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any more videos like these. Thank you guys a ton for watching. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day and week.